The small village where he grew up was the kind of place most people wanted to leave. The roads were dusty, opportunities were rare, and many families struggled to earn enough money to meet their daily needs. Among those families was a young boy who had big dreams but very little else. His parents worked hard every day, yet there was never enough money for luxuries. Sometimes there was not even enough for basic comforts. While other children talked about new toys, expensive clothes, and exciting vacations, he learned to be grateful for what little he had. Life was not easy, but even at a young age, he believed that his future could be different. As he grew older, he became aware of how difficult his situation really was. He saw classmates with better resources, better schools, and better connections. Many of them seemed to have a clear path to success, while he felt as if he was starting miles behind everyone else. People often reminded him of his limitations. Some said he should stop dreaming so big and focus on finding a simple job. Others laughed when he talked about achieving something great. They believed that success belonged only to those who were born into wealth or privilege. Their words hurt him, but he refused to let them destroy his hope. Every morning, he woke up with a determination that surprised even himself. He knew he could not control where he was born, but he could control how hard he worked. He spent hours reading books borrowed from friends and libraries. Whenever he found an opportunity to learn something new, he took it. While others spent their free time complaining about life, he spent his learning and improving. He understood that knowledge was one of the few things nobody could take away from him. There were many moments when he felt discouraged. Sometimes he worked hard and still failed. Sometimes he prepared for opportunities that never came. Sometimes he gave his best effort only to watch someone else succeed. Those moments made him question himself. He wondered if the people who doubted him were right. He wondered if his dreams were too big. But each time those thoughts appeared, he reminded himself why he had started. He remembered the struggles of his family and the life he wanted to create for them. That purpose gave him strength. As the years passed, he developed a habit of persistence. Whenever he faced a challenge, he looked for a solution instead of an excuse. If he lacked money, he found creative ways to continue learning. If he lacked support, he motivated himself. If he lacked experience, he worked harder to gain it. He stopped focusing on what he did not have and started focusing on what he could do with the resources available to him. This mindset slowly transformed his life. People around him began noticing a difference. While many others remained stuck in the same routines, he continued moving forward. His confidence grew, not because life had become easier, but because he had learned to trust himself. Every small achievement became proof that progress was possible. Every obstacle he overcame made him stronger. He discovered that success was not about making one giant leap. It was about taking small steps every single day. One day, an opportunity finally appeared. It was not a perfect opportunity, and it did not guarantee success. In fact, many people ignored it because it seemed too difficult, but he saw it differently. He recognized it as a chance to prove himself. He worked harder than ever before. Long days turned into late nights. Failures became lessons. Mistakes became opportunities to improve. While others quit when things became difficult, he continued pushing forward. The journey was far from smooth. There were setbacks that threatened to erase months of progress. There were moments when everything seemed to be falling apart. Friends advised him to give up and choose an easier path. Some people mocked him for continuing to try, yet he had already come too far to turn back. He knew that giving up would guarantee failure, while persistence at least gave him a chance to succeed. So he kept going. Slowly, the results of his hard work began to appear. Skills that once seemed impossible to master became second nature. Challenges that once frightened him became manageable. Opportunities that had once been out of reach started coming his way. The same people who had doubted him began asking how he had achieved so much. They saw the success but not the countless hours of effort behind it. They saw the results but not the sacrifices. Despite his growing achievements, he remained humble. He never forgot where he came from. He remembered the difficult days when nobody believed in him. He remembered the moments when he had nothing except hope and determination. Those memories kept him grounded and grateful. Instead of becoming arrogant, he used his success to inspire others. He wanted people facing similar struggles to know that their circumstances did not have to define their future. Over time, his story spread beyond his village. People were inspired by the young man who had started with nothing and built a better life through determination and hard work. His journey became proof that success is not reserved for a lucky few. It is available to anyone willing to work for it, learn from failure, and keep moving forward despite difficulties. He showed that talent is valuable, but persistence is often even more important. Looking back, he realized that the challenges he once hated had actually shaped him into the person he had become. Without those struggles, he might never have developed resilience. Without rejection, he might never have learned determination. Without hardship, he might never have appreciated success. The obstacles that seemed unfair at the time had become the foundation of his strength. His life became a powerful reminder that every successful person starts somewhere. Some begin with advantages, while others begin with almost nothing. What matters most is not where the journey starts, but how determined a person is to continue. The young man who once had no money, no connections, and no special advantages had proven that dreams can become reality. Through patience, discipline, and unwavering belief in himself, he transformed his life. His story inspired countless others to believe that even when the odds seem impossible, a person who refuses to quit can achieve extraordinary things. He started with nothing, but he refused to stay there, and that decision changed everything. As the young man continued his journey, he realized that wishing for a better life was not enough. Dreams alone could not change his future. He understood that success required effort, discipline, and a willingness to improve every single day. While many people around him spent their time complaining about their circumstances, he made a different choice. Instead of focusing on what was wrong with his life, he focused on what he could do to make it better. This simple decision became the turning point in his journey. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise with a clear purpose in mind. He knew that each day was an opportunity to move one step closer to his goals. While others were sleeping, he was already working. He spent hours reading books, learning new skills, and searching for ways to improve himself. He believed that knowledge was one of the most valuable investments a person could make. Even when he could not afford expensive courses or training programs, he found ways to learn through free resources and personal experience. The path was not easy. There were many days when he felt tired and overwhelmed. Sometimes it seemed as though all his hard work was producing very little progress. However, he refused to let temporary difficulties discourage him. He reminded himself that success was not built in a single day. It was created through consistent effort over months and years. Every small improvement mattered, and every lesson learned brought him closer to his destination. Whenever he faced a failure, he chose to view it differently from most people. Instead of seeing failure as proof that he was not good enough, he treated it as feedback. He analyzed his mistakes, identified areas where he could improve, and tried again. Each setback became an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser. This mindset allowed him to keep moving forward even when things did not go according to plan. There were moments when people questioned his dedication. Some friends thought he was working too hard. Others believed he was wasting his time chasing impossible goals. They could not understand why he spent so many hours learning, practicing, and improving himself. Yet he never allowed their opinions to distract him. He knew that people often judge a journey before they see the results. Instead of arguing with them, he let his actions speak for him. As time passed, he developed habits that separated him from the crowd. He became disciplined in the way he used his time. He avoided activities that offered short-term pleasure but added little value to his future. While many people spent hours complaining about their problems, he spent those hours searching for solutions. While others looked for excuses, he looked for opportunities. This difference in mindset slowly created a difference in results. One of the most important lessons he learned was the value of patience. In the beginning, he expected success to arrive quickly. However, reality taught him that meaningful achievements require time. There were periods when progress felt almost invisible. Despite this, he continued working because he trusted the process. He understood that every effort was like planting a seed. Although the results were not immediately visible, growth was taking place beneath the surface. His determination became stronger with each challenge he overcame. Difficult situations that once seemed impossible gradually became manageable. The confidence he gained did not come from luck or talent alone. It came from repeatedly proving to himself that he could face problems and find solutions. Every obstacle conquered became evidence of his growing strength. As he continued learning, he expanded his skills and knowledge. He became more capable, more confident, and more prepared for opportunities. He understood that the world rewards people who bring value. Therefore, he focused on becoming the kind of person who could solve problems and contribute meaningfully. Instead of waiting for opportunities to appear, he prepared himself so thoroughly that he would be ready when they arrived. There were still moments of disappointment. Sometimes he invested weeks of effort into projects that failed. Sometimes opportunities disappeared at the last moment. Sometimes people he trusted let him down. Yet even during these difficult times, he refused to give up. He reminded himself that every successful person had faced similar struggles. The difference between those who succeeded and those who failed was often the willingness to continue after setbacks. Gradually, his hard work began producing noticeable results. Skills that once seemed difficult became easier. Tasks that once required hours could now be completed in minutes. People started noticing his growth and dedication. Some even began asking for advice. The same individuals who once doubted him were now impressed by his progress. However, he remained focused because he knew there was still a long way to go. What made him truly different was his commitment to continuous improvement. He never allowed success to make him complacent. Every achievement became motivation to aim higher. Every milestone became the starting point for a new goal. He understood that growth is a lifelong journey rather than a destination. This mindset kept him moving forward even after reaching levels that once seemed impossible. Years of effort eventually transformed his life. The knowledge he gained, the skills he developed, and the discipline he practiced all combined to create opportunities he had once only imagined. Success did not arrive suddenly. It was the result of thousands of small decisions made consistently over time. Every early morning, every late night, every failure, and every lesson had contributed to his progress. Looking back, he realized that hard work and determination had been his greatest advantages. He had not started with wealth, powerful connections, or special privileges. What he possessed was the willingness to keep going when others stopped. He understood that talent may open doors, but determination keeps them open. His journey proved that persistence can often achieve what natural ability alone cannot. His story became an inspiration to those who felt trapped by their circumstances. It showed that success is not reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It belongs to those who are willing to work for it, learn from failure, and remain committed to their goals despite difficulties. Through hard work and determination, he transformed not only his future, but also his understanding of what was possible. Step by step, lesson by lesson, and challenge by challenge, he moved closer to his dreams until they eventually became reality. His journey was proof that extraordinary achievements are often built through ordinary efforts repeated consistently over time. Years of dedication, sacrifice, and persistence had finally begun to pay off. The young man who once struggled to find opportunities was now living the life he had dreamed about for so long. The journey had not been easy, and success had not arrived overnight. It was the result of countless hours of hard work, thousands of lessons learned from failure, and an unwavering belief in himself. Looking back at how far he had come, he felt grateful for every challenge he had faced, because each one had played a role in shaping the person he had become. The success he achieved was not just measured by money or recognition. It was reflected in the confidence he had gained, the skills he had developed, and the positive impact he was able to make in the lives of others. For years, he had imagined what it would feel like to achieve his goals. Now that he had reached them, he realized that the journey itself had been just as valuable as the destination. Every obstacle had taught him resilience, every setback had taught him patience, and every failure had taught him wisdom. People who once doubted him began to view him differently. The same individuals who had laughed at his ambitions were now impressed by his achievements. Many of them could hardly believe the transformation they had witnessed. They remembered the young man who had started with almost nothing and compared him to the successful individual standing before them. His progress seemed extraordinary, but he knew that it had been built through years of consistent effort rather than sudden luck. Some people approached him to ask for advice. They wanted to know the secret behind his success. They expected him to reveal a shortcut or a special opportunity that had changed everything. However, his answer was always simple. He told them that success was not the result of a single event. It was the result of discipline, determination, patience, and the willingness to continue moving forward even when progress seemed slow. He explained that every achievement begins with a decision to keep going despite difficulties. As his reputation grew, more people became inspired by his story. Young individuals who felt discouraged by their circumstances saw hope in his journey. They realized that if someone from a humble background could achieve great things, perhaps they could as well. His experiences became proof that circumstances do not have to determine a person's future. What matters most is how a person responds to those circumstances. Whenever he spoke to others, he emphasized the importance of believing in oneself. He remembered how many times people had doubted him and how easy it would have been to accept their opinions as truth. If he had listened to them, he might never have pursued his dreams. Instead, he chose to trust his potential even when there was little evidence of success. That belief gave him the courage to continue during difficult times. His success also allowed him to help those around him. He supported his family, improved their quality of life, and provided opportunities they had never imagined. Seeing the happiness on their faces became one of the most rewarding aspects of his journey. He had always wanted to create a better future, not only for himself, but also for the people he loved. Achieving that goal gave him a sense of fulfillment that no amount of money could replace. Despite everything he had accomplished, he remained humble. He never forgot where he came from or the struggles he had endured. The memories of difficult days stayed with him and served as reminders of the importance of gratitude. Rather than becoming arrogant, success made him more compassionate. He understood what it felt like to struggle, to be underestimated, and to face rejection. Because of this, he treated others with kindness and encouragement. As time passed, his story continued to inspire more people. Schools invited him to speak to students. Communities asked him to share his experiences. Everywhere he went, people were eager to hear how he had transformed his life. Instead of focusing solely on his achievements, he spoke about the lessons he had learned along the way. He wanted others to understand that success is not about avoiding failure. It is about learning from failure and refusing to quit. One message appeared in nearly every speech he gave. He reminded people that greatness is not reserved for a select few. Ordinary individuals can achieve extraordinary things when they combine hard work with perseverance. He encouraged people to stop comparing themselves to others and start focusing on their own growth. Every successful person begins as a beginner, and every achievement starts with a single step. Many individuals who listened to his story later shared how it had changed their lives. Some decided to continue their education despite obstacles. Others started businesses, pursued careers, or followed dreams they had previously abandoned. Knowing that his journey had motivated others became one of his proudest accomplishments. Success was no longer just about personal achievement. It had become an opportunity to inspire and uplift those around him. Years later, when people looked at him, they often saw only the successful version of his life. They saw the accomplishments, recognition, and respect he had earned. What they did not always see were the sacrifices, failures, and struggles hidden behind those achievements. Yet he never tried to hide that part of his story. Instead, he shared it openly because he wanted others to understand that success is rarely easy. Every victory is built upon countless moments of persistence. As he reflected on his journey, he realized that the greatest lesson he had learned was the power of perseverance. Talent, intelligence, and resources can be helpful, but determination often matters even more. The ability to continue when things become difficult is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who abandon them. His life was living proof of that principle. The young man who once had no money, no connections, and no special advantages had become an example of what is possible when a person refuses to give up. Through hard work, patience, courage, and self-belief, he transformed his circumstances and achieved success beyond his imagination. More importantly, he inspired countless others to believe in their own potential. His story became a reminder that no matter where someone starts in life, the future is not fixed. With determination and persistence, anyone can overcome obstacles, pursue their dreams, and create a better life. From zero to hero, his journey demonstrated that success is not defined by